In today's video, we're going to be looking at a second iteration of a bait boat from the guys over at Rippton. Rippton as a company are already extremely well known within the UK, not only for their excellent customer service, but also on the sheer build quality of their products. This video is going to be part of a 3-video mini-series, if you like. The first video is going to be all about this CatchXPro bait boat. The second video is going to be about the 𝘁𝗵𝗶𝗀, which is basically a sonar that works in conjunction with this bait boat to give you like the ultimate fish finding and bait boat package. And the third video, I'm going to take this kit to one of the UK's busiest venues and put it through its paces. Hopefully I'll catch a fish for the cameras, but this time of year, who knows? One of the first things I need to mention is just how well packaged this whole kit was when it arrived on my doorstep. The box was absolutely massive, rammed full of airbags and polystyrene. Nothing in that box was going absolutely anywhere. So it doesn't matter how many times your friendly courier kicks your parcel around the back of their van, this should turn up in one piece. So what exactly do you get when you purchase a CatchXPro bait boat? Obviously, at this point, I would say it's pretty much a given. You get the boat. And moving on from that, obviously you get the 𝘁𝗵𝗶𝗀𝗲 fish finder, you get the controller for the boat, aerials for both the controller and obviously the boat, and then obviously you get batteries for the boat. There's 2 batteries in this boat, 8,000 mAh each. There are upgraded versions available. If you're doing sort of long stay abroad trips, then that may be something that interests you. When it comes to chargers, you get a proper 3-pin UK plug. No one likes using those 2-pin adapters. They always seem a little bit suspect to me, so yeah, it's nice that you get a proper UK plug in there. The charger lets you charge the batteries, both of them at the same time within the boat. There is, however, an adapter also supplied so that you can charge each battery individually outside of the boat. So if you do buy a second set of batteries, you'll still be able to charge them while using the boat out on the bank. There are also individual chargers for both the controller and the fish finder, and they're both USB, which means obviously you could charge them on the bank. If the batteries start to run down, you can top them up with a power pack and you're good to go. And last but not least, quite possibly the most important bit within the box, the user manuals. There's a separate one for the boat and for the fish finder. Obviously have a read through those guys. There's so much information in there. It really will help you get the best out of this kit. Okay, before we move on to some of the key features, let's just run through some spec. Everybody loves to know the spec on a new bit of kit. So first up, we've got the dimension, 61.5 centimeters long, 35 centimeters wide and roughly 32 centimeters tall. It's a catamaran style hull, which basically means the hull has been split up into 2 parts, one either side, and then obviously you can have your hoppers running through the center of the boat. The reason the hull has been made so deep is so that once you've got your bait in there and the boat sitting lower in the water, it really does sort of aid with keeping that boat stable. So even if you're fishing on some of the biggest reservoirs or inland seas within the UK or abroad, this boat is going to be stable and it's always going to get back to you. Now when it comes to weight, it's 5.4 kilos, which is actually quite nice and light when you consider that includes the batteries and the receiver. Obviously it's a good size, you could pop it into a bag or a rucksack. I believe Rippton do actually sell their own bait boat bag, so maybe if you'd like to bag up your bait boats, then consider that as a purchase when you buy the actual bait boat itself. But yeah, it's a nice manageable size and weight. You could carry it around a lake or obviously stick it on your barrow, whatever works for you. Now moving on to the aesthetics of the boat, obviously as you can already see, it's got a really nice modern look about it. You buy a brand new bit of tech, the last thing you want it to look is dated. Both the controller and the boat itself have got like a carbon weave pattern on there, which makes it look nice and sleek. Moving on to the hoppers, you've got 2 individual hoppers. Combined, they hold 3 kilos of bait, and there's also a hook bait release, which is a separate mechanism in case you didn't want to put your rig in the hopper. Personally, whenever I use a bait boat, I like to put the rig in the hopper along with the bait so I know that it's all landing exactly at the same time. When it comes to range, you're going to have no worries whatsoever. This is rated at 300 meters. Now, obviously that is slightly dependent on conditions and the weather that you're out in, but I don't think I've even got 300 meters of line on the spools of my reels. I'm pretty sure they only hold like 250 maximum. So yeah, definitely not going to have any issues if you want to fish great distances with this bit of kit. You can expect approximately 2.5 hours of constant run time from a full charge. A full charge takes around 4 hours. Obviously that's from mains power. If you're looking to charge this from an inverter in a van, or even if you've got an adapter for your cigarette socket, the chances are it's going to take quite a bit longer. Just bear that in mind. If you're not going to have access to mains power, you need to allow the extra time for it to charge. On the front of the boat, you've got an extremely bright white LED strip light, and on the back, you've got exactly the same, but in red. That way, even on the darkest of nights, you will always be able to tell exactly which direction your boat's heading in. If you're in a hurry to get your rigs onto the spots, then this could be something that interests you. Twin 755, 7,000 RPM motors on this with weed guards, so you're not going to get any tangles in weed or line or anything like that. This boat does not hang about. It seriously shifts. So like I say, if you're trying to get a rig to a spot quickly, then this will definitely be a positive in your eyes. The 5.8 GHz frequency goes an extremely long way to making sure that you will have no interference when you're out using this boat. The amount of devices that can be used within that 5.8 GHz band without them interrupting each other at one time is absolutely massive. Even if you were fishing a lake with 60 swims on it and every single person had one of these bait boats, you will not end up interfering with the guy next door to you, the guy opposite you, or anything like that. So that is just something that you can completely forget about these days. Once upon a time, I remember you used to have to change like a little chip in your controller and a little chip in the boat to make sure you weren't steering your neighbour's boat around the lake. So yeah, again, that is definitely not something that you've got to worry about anymore. And now moving on to the final few little bits of tech spec, there are some really important bits here. So first up, Autopilot. Now everybody was raving about bait boats with Autopilot until they realised they had to pay extra for it. Not the case here. It comes included within the package. There's no hidden fees. If you buy this boat, you get Autopilot, you get GPS, you get positioning information, and you get a full featured app included within the price, which is absolutely fantastic. If I remember rightly, those GPS and Autopilot features were really quite expensive if you wanted to purchase them as an add-on. I really can't wait to get out on the bank with this kit and try and catch some absolutely cracking fish, because let's be honest, whether you are a bait boat fan or not, sometimes they are a real edge. So as I mentioned earlier, Rippton really are at the forefront of technology within fishing. Pop onto their website and have a good look around, because it's not just bait boats. They do drones for sea fishing and all kinds of amazing stuff that I'd never even seen before, certainly hadn't even considered. I don't think, some of it's not based around UK fishing, but they are supplying the whole world with excellent bits of kit, so it's really worth having a look at. Just going back quickly to the CatchXPro bait boat, these do come with a 12-month guarantee, and although they are manufactured in China, there is a UK service centre. So if you ever have a problem with the boat or it ever breaks down or needs repair, there is someone on home soil that you get to talk to. Now, I'll be totally honest with you guys, and I am not normally a bait boat user. I've used them on a handful of French trips with friends. Very rarely have I used one in the UK. And I mean, there's no real reason for that other than I think a lot of them are extremely overcomplicated, especially when it comes to things like GPS and path tracking and all that kind of stuff. But luckily the guys over at Rippton have made it extremely simple, and basically it's all through the app that you can download on Android or iOS. The app basically links the fish finder to the boat, and then obviously to the controller and your phone, and you can do everything you need to do from the touchscreen of your mobile phone. When it comes to connecting the bait boat to the app, again, super simple. Just turn it on. You literally turn it on, open the app on your phone, and it does the rest for you, which again, the easier they can make this complicated tech, the better as far as I'm concerned, because as much as I really enjoy products like this, I just struggle with actually using them within my fishing because I try to keep everything so simple. So coming on to a couple of the fittings of the actual boat itself. First up, you've got the waterproof battery doors. They've got a really thick rubber seal on there. There is no way any water is getting into that battery compartment, or the rest of the boat for that matter, because the whole thing is sealed all the way around. Now, it is designed to be taken apart for servicing. That's done within the UK, so there's no shipping it abroad. There's no scary bits and pieces like that. All done in the UK in-house. Moving on from the battery covers, you've got the rubberized grip handle in the middle there. That's extremely strong. You're never going to break that, not in a million years. Nice and comfortable to hold if you're carrying it around the lake or transporting it around your swim. So yeah, no problems there whatsoever. Next up, you've got the waterproof and illuminated power button, so you know whether it's switched on or off. You've got the hook release button. Then you've also got a charging port and an update port. Now the update port is basically so that if Rippton bring out any firmware updates for the boats to improve its performance, you can plug a USB-C cable into there, plug it into your laptop, and yeah, an absolute piece of cake to update your boat at home to make sure it's always running at its absolute best. As you can see here, I've attached the bracketry for the 𝘃𝗶𝗱𝗲𝗲 fish finder. It's a lovely carbon tube which comes out to another carbon tube, and that slides up and down, enabling the fish finder to keep constant contact with the water surface. That just makes sure you get a really clean and reliable signal from that sonar system, because let's be honest, if you've got one fitted to your bait boat, you're going to be relying on it fairly heavily. When it comes to the controller, again, extremely easy and simple to use. Push and hold the Rippton logo and that turns it on. It illuminates green. You've then obviously got battery indicators and satellite indicators on there so that you know you've got a strong connection to the boat. You know how much battery you've got in the controller, and you also know how much battery you've got in the boat. You've got a little phone holder on the top there. Slot your phone into there. No cables required. It's all done through Wi-Fi. And then, yeah, open the app and away you go. Get the boat in the water and start fishing. One other thing I should mention is that this type of sonar system, I'm sure it all looks fairly familiar to a lot of you out there, used to have issues with attaching them to bait boats. So quite a few people have previously tried attaching their sonar to a bait boat via fishing line, and then noticed that the two frequencies interfered with each other and you couldn't get good control of your bait boat and you didn't get a very good sonar pickup. That's not the problem here. These are designed to work together. This bait boat has actually got a range extender built into it to maximise the range of that sonar unit. Not only can the boat go up to 300 metres, so can the sonar unit as well, which is pretty impressive. Well, there you go, guys, a really quick rundown on the CatchXPro bait boat. Now, I know I haven't gone into much detail about any of the GPS functions or the 𝘃𝗶𝗱𝗲𝗲 sonar. It's all come in other videos. The second video is going to be all about that 𝘃𝗶𝗱𝗲𝗲 plus the app and how to get the absolute best out of that. The third video, I'm taking all of this kit to one of the busiest day tickets in the country to try and catch fish for camera. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and make sure you hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss out on any more products like this. I'll see you guys in the next one. See you later.